Hello and welcome. This is Sparkimus here to show off my Magic Doors plugin. This is a Bukkit Spigot plugin for Minecraft which allows you to create families of linked magic doors. Essentially doors which you can teleport between. Okay, so as always with my intro plugin videos, I'd like to show where we're getting the code. It's at GitHub, my Sparkimus account, and the project is called Magic Doors. Next we'll take a look at the POM file and we can see we are on version 1.1.4. Okay, so once you spool up your server with your Magic Doors jar file in your plugin directory, you will get a Magic Doors directory, and inside there is of course the config file, and there is a data directory which saves where the doors are and some information about them. I'll open up the config and we'll take a look at it a little bit later. And for now though, we're going to get right into the game and start making some magic doors. So the first thing I'm going to do is run the md equip command. This is an OP only command for getting some items for testing with. And I'm actually going to run this 2 more times so that I can get some extra water and lava. Okay, so the very first thing to do is to craft a root door. A root door is crafted with an iron door in the middle and it is surrounded by diamonds. Now I do want to point out that everything about this recipe is configurable. The name of the item that comes out, the type of item that comes out, all the types of items that go into it, and so on. And the name is actually also dynamic in different languages, so you can set a different name for German and English and so on, and when different players pick up the items or open up chests with those items in it, the name will automatically be translated. Okay, so let me take this root door, and next we're going to create a root door copy. Not in love with that name, but you can change it if you don't like it. Maybe call it a child door. Sometimes I refer to it as that. So the recipe for a root door copy is a root door in the middle, emerald on top, and a bucket of water below. Now you see when I take this root door, I'm actually going to get the root door back and the emerald back. That's set by the keep feature for the recipe, and you can change that as well. Okay, so you can see I got the door back and I got my emerald back, and I now have a root door copy. I'm actually going to create 2 more doors, so let me just stack up the inventory with enough for 2. And I don't need to put 2 emeralds because I get it back, but it'll make it a little quicker. So I'll take that root door copy, get the root door back, kick this bucket out of here, put 1 more bucket of water, and get the last root door copy. Okay, so next what you want to create is some keys. I'm gonna just go ahead and create 1 key right now, and to create a key we put a root door copy in the middle, a dandelion on top, and a bucket of lava below, and with that you get a door key. Okay, so now we have some things that we can get started with. I'm going to take my root door copies and put them separately on the bar here, so they're all to the left and my root door is right here. So, and let me just go ahead and set the time. Okay, so I'm going to put the root door here, and you're going to see it's going to get a name. This one happens to be called Helpless Picard. Little homage to Star Trek there. Okay, so now you can see if I try to teleport with this door, it's not going to do anything. Helpless Picard has no children yet. So let's give it a child by smacking a root door copy against the bottom. You could right click or left click, but it has to be the bottom of the door. Okay, so now you can see this has the word Helpless Picard written in the lore. So it means it's linked to that root door. So you can put that door maybe right here, and we can see it got an ID. You don't have to worry about what that is. But now they're linked, and I can teleport between the 2 doors. Okay, so next I want to point out that we can imprint more child doors onto the Helpless Picard family line there, and we can place, you can place them anywhere. You can actually place them in the Nether if you wanted, and it would transport you between worlds. But now you can see we have 2 child doors and 1 root door for the Helpless Picard line. So whenever you teleport from the root, you go to a random child, but the children always go back to the root. So you can see here I've gotten on the farther one on the end a couple times in a row now, but now here we got to the inside door. So that is random. Okay, so the next thing to demonstrate would be private doors, because right now anybody with a door key could use these teleportations for these doors. If you don't want that, if you want to have a door that only you can use, or maybe only certain people can use, then you have to create a owned root door. Again, not in love with that name, so you can change that around if you want. To create an owned root, the recipe is essentially the same as a as a root door, but it has an emerald on top. So you can see now we have an owned root door, and we have a spare root door copy, and with that I will create the keys we need to interact with our owned roots. Now you can interact with any of your own owned roots with a skeleton key, which is crafted like a normal key, but it has a bone on top. And while we're at it, I'm just going to create one more normal key, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So again, we need the root door copy in the middle, and lava on bottom, and a dandelion on top. So now we have two regular door keys, a skeleton door key, and a root door copy and an owned root. So let's go ahead and place the owned root over here, and you can see we've made the tiny wizard owned root. Now, I do want to point out, if you tried to put down a root door copy without imprinting it first, it will stop you, which is for your benefit, so you don't lose that door. Essentially, if you put it down, if you were allowed to, you'd lose the fact that it was a root door copy. Okay, so we have to imprint this door before we're allowed to put it down. So let's go ahead and do that, and now it's ready to be placed, and we'll put it over here. And you can see now, if I try to use a normal key, it would tell us that we need a tiny wizard key, because this is a private door, an owned root. But I have a skeleton key, and I am the owner of that line of doors, so I'm allowed to use my skeleton key. Anybody else, if they tried to use their skeleton key, it wouldn't work because they don't own that door. Now, say I want to let my friends use this line of doors, that means I'm going to have to give them a special key. So to do that, since I'm the owner of this door, I can now imprint this key. Looks like it teleported me as well. But you can see this door has the word Tiny Wizard in it, or this door key does. So you can give this to your friends. I want to point out that the only keys that you should really keep on you, which have special names in them, are keys for other people's owned doors. You wouldn't keep your own on you, kind of clog up your bag. That's what your skeleton key's for. In fact, your skeleton key is probably what you'll use to transport between most doors, because they work universally on non-owned routes, and they work for your own owned routes, and then the only other time you'd use a different key would be if you were trying to use a particular line of doors. Okay, so that pretty much covers all the features of the doors. I do want to point out, if I tried to put a flower down, it would stop me as well, just like the owned root, or any of the root doors really, except for the actual root doors, just the copy doors it stops you. Once you put an owned root or root down, it actually creates a new line of doors. Okay, but the other thing to show off would be, what if we have destroyed a door? Well, if you destroy this door, you can see obviously there's nothing to click on, so you couldn't teleport to there, but you could, or you couldn't teleport from there, but you could teleport back to there. The same would work if I broke one of the child doors. Now, that means the data for this is not gone, so we can actually put a door back. Did I put that in the right place? I did. Okay, so if you accidentally break one of your doors, just remember, put it back in the same place it was, and it should still work just fine. And let's show off some of the dynamic translation stuff. So I'll do that by first putting my skeleton key in this chest, and I'll leave the door keys in my bag to show you how some of this stuff works. We'll actually drop one of the keys on the ground as well to really demonstrate the full features of the translation. Okay, so I'm going to now switch over my language to German. That is one of the other supported languages that comes shipped with the plugin, but you can add other languages yourself. And while that switches over, let's take a look at the config file to see how some of this stuff works. Okay, so first I want to point out, you might have wondered where do these names come from the door, for the doors. So there's a gigantic list of adjectives, and you can add to those or change them altogether. And there's a list of suffixes, which are essentially proper names. So you can change these around, maybe get your own theme going, maybe like a Harry Potter theme or a Star Trek theme or Lord of the Rings, whatever you want. Okay, so but that's how the naming of the doors works. And the naming of the items, you can see there are the items we talked about: root door, owned root, root door copy, door key, and a skeleton key. And the items all have a list of locales that they can be translated between, and then a section for each locale for the name of the item. And so essentially, if you have a new language that I haven't supported yet, you can add a line for your locale to the locales list, and then add a section to the item for your locale with the name that you want translated. And the messages in the game work the same way, same kind of system. There's a messages section with the name of each message key, and then a version of it in different languages. I do have German in here, even though it is supported in the actual messages in the jar itself, but I wanted to have like an example here in the config file for how you could configure it yourself. Okay, so everything's translated in the game, or we switched over to a different language now, into German. So now you can see, if I look at the key in my bag, it's still going to be in English, because I figure most people aren't switching between languages, so I don't have to actively translate the things in their bag every time they open up their bag. But if they click on an item in their bag that happens to be in a different language, then it will get translated immediately once they click it. Now the other things, this is more of the use case, like maybe I drop that as an English player and then a German comes along and picks it up. You can see it will be immediately translated for them. And the same goes with chess. Once I open up the chess, it will be translated as well. So that's all the features to show off, really. If you guys think there's anything cool, anything else I could add, I have some other ideas about really controlling where you're transporting, even when there's multiple children doors. But maybe you guys have some other completely new ideas. And as always, if you like this, please leave a review. Maybe even go over to YouTube, give me a like. It makes me feel good. And I hope you guys enjoy. Have a good day.